Hi, Tamal. Thanks for coming on the show again.
Thank you.
Now, first of all, a congratulations is in order. You projected a 50 basis point hike, and we are at that 50 basis point. RBI listened to you. Now, in this week's column, you have taken the discussion forward. You're talking about the next meeting, and you're preempting a 35 basis point hike. But you have that discussion between a 25 and a 35 basis point. Now, can you explain the rationale for your expectation of a 35 basis point hike?
Thanks, Ishan. The rate has to go up. That's for sure. Reserve Bank of India is distinctly uncomfortable with inflation. And so how do you push it up? And typically we are used to 25 basis bips hike and 50 basis hike. But here is one governor who had actually deviated from the conventional path. So that has encouraged me. 35 is not as high as 50 or not as low as 25. So it's midway, and it also reaches a milestone 5.75. So then possibly the next rate hike could be 25 basis point, because he's talking about soft landing economy. So it doesn't give doesn't want to give any jerk, no nasty surprises. So rate hike is forgiven. Not only once, it doesn't necessarily mean that every quarter we will see a rate hike. He could press the pause button, wait and watch, depending on the move of inflation growth, as well as what's happening in US.
Now, we've discussed this before, because you're talking about a 5.75% in September. Is the 6% repo rate a possibility by December? And will we breach the 6.5% mark, which you discussed in your column as well, being the highest rate ever in recent times?
It's possible. It's possible. So 5.75, I think, is given in September. And then next is December. Now, whether the next 25 bips come in December or RBI presses the press button, we don't know, because it's a very uncertain situation. So like if the crude price plunges, and if we see the inflation is really going down, because thanks to RBI, despite all the analysts and economists are seeing that inflation would be probably less than what RBI had estimated, but RBI has stuck to it. It has not changed its inflation projection. So, but as things could change if, November is the elections, US elections. Yeah. So if we see by December that US Federal Reserve is through with its rate hike, and inflation is at a much lower level than what we had anticipated, probably RBI can press the press button in December and then go for a hike in January. Press button not to pause, not for good, but to take stock of the situation. Mm-hmm. So as of now, both possibilities are there. The next rate hike is given, and December, in that case, we may see 6% by December. In this uncertain environment, only certainty is rates will go up, and not by 50 bips anymore, I guess. So that's it. Now, in between, it doesn't mean that every policy will go for a rate hike. It might not. RBI may pause and look around and take stock of the situation, and can do it at the next.
And what about the 6.5% mark? Because that was the second part of my question.
Yeah, we are all, the entire world is reeling against negative rates, which means savers' money is being eroded, which means inflation is much higher than the policy rate. So we need to bring it back, and Reserve Bank of India Governor Mr. Das post-policy conference showed his concern about negative rate. We want to push it to bring it to the positive region. Now, how do we do it? If 1 year down the line we are talking about 5% inflation in the first quarter of next fiscal year, so if you want to have a positive rate, so definitely you need to have at least 6%. And in the past, we had even higher positive rate. So we don't know the inflation exactly what's going to happen. So definitely, if you want to, and we want to bring down the inflation to 4%, That's what, for the first time, Reserve Bank of India said. He's not talking about the band. He did not speak about only the band that say up to 6%. He has spoken about 4% also.
Yeah.
So to have the positive interest rate, ideally you should go even beyond 6%. Now, is it 6.25 or 6.5? Again, uncertain time, but certainly RBI may not stop at 6. To ensure a positive interest rate, it probably will go beyond 6.
Now, you've talked about the savers. I would like to talk about the mortgage market. What do these rate hikes mean for the normal average person who's paying an EMI?
Definitely, that's that side of it. Yes, the credit growth we have been seeing is primarily driven by retail loans. If you see the bank balance sheet over the past few years, the portion of corporate loan is going down and retail loan is going up. And the retail loans are auto loans and home loans and personal loans, so on and so forth. They will be definitely affected because bulk of the bank loans are now linked to the external benchmark, and particularly the MSME segment. For the past 2 years, each and every MSME loan is attached to the external benchmark. Every loan which is linked to external benchmark, which is every MSME loan taken in the past 2 years, and most of the other retail loans like home loans and auto loans, they have gone up or are going up. It's a question of time. Banks are very fast in raising rates, so they have to pay more. Now, depending on your age, I think up to certain age, banks do not want to increase your EMI. It extend the period of repayment. So to 15 years can become 16 years or 17 years. But by the time you cross 70 years, in that case, they would prefer to hike your EMI.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So there will be either stretching the loan repayment period for the most cases, but for few cases will be hiking the EMI as well. And most importantly, the new buyers, new home buyers, and new automobile buyers or two-wheeler buyers, they have to upfront pay more.
Yeah.
And so there is no escape. So definitely there is a possibility of slowing down the retail loan growth, and B, quality of assets. Both could be the concern because not everybody may be in a position to pay off the higher rates. And this will also particularly, you spoke about mortgage market, the low cost housing market. My information is anecdotally, I am seeing there is a slowdown in demand.
Now, it's very interesting you talk about the credit growth. The credit growth has held steady at 14% as per the RBI figures. Now, with the rates rising, the RBI has kept the growth forecast at 7.2%. Does it sit well with the narrative? Isn't it supposed to come down?
Well, if you see that almost every agency has brought down the growth estimate, but RBI has stuck to it. I think we need to wait and watch. Probably we would see there is some tinkering both in the growth estimate as well as the inflation estimate, because Reserve Bank of India has also stuck to the inflation estimate, while everybody is talking about inflation could be lower. So probably growth could be lower, 7.2 to 7%. Probably inflation could be also marginally lower. But for the timing, RBI has stuck to it. So we might see some tinkering probably in the next meeting.
That's about it. Thank you. Thanks a lot for your time. We hope to see you next week again. Thank you.
If you like this video, share it and subscribe to Business Standard. For more news, views and insights, log on to www.business-standard.com. Do also follow us on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Telegram and LinkedIn.
I am the blue of the limitless sky. I am the inspiration that led success soar high. I will achieve, I will fly high. I am the I in SBI.
I'm backed by the nation's trusted bank, SBI, the banker to every Indian.